So you've been carrying around a problem that your mind keeps trying to solve, hour after hour, day after day, week after week maybe, even though thinking about it another 100 times has never brought you any closer to an answer or any closer to peace. We've all done it, I certainly have. So in this video, I'm going to explain why it happens and what you can do to step out of the loop and break the cycle. When a problem or a worry fills your entire field of view, it doesn't necessarily mean that that problem is getting any bigger, only that your perspective is getting smaller. Imagine flying halfway across the world to a tropical desert island paradise, only to get there and spend your entire holiday with your nose pressed up against a palm tree. Well, you'd miss the beach. You're going to miss the sea, the sunsets, the bars, not because they weren't there, but because your perspective never changed. And overthinking, in my opinion, works in much the same way. The problem becomes so close, so loud, and so overwhelming or all-consuming that everything else just disappears from view. So the goal isn't to pretend that the palm tree isn't there or that the problem doesn't exist. It's to remember that there is an entire island and a whole bunch of solutions waiting on the other side of it. The brain doesn't just learn from what we do, it also learns from what we repeatedly think about, especially when we think about the same thing over and over and over again. Every time you revisit the same worry, you're not solving it, you are rehearsing it. And the brain is extremely good at remembering whatever it rehearses most often, which is great if you're learning to play the piano or you're channeling that energy into something constructive or positive, but it's far less helpful if what you are repeatedly rehearsing is worry or stress. That is why overthinking can begin to feel so automatic. It's not because you're weak or you're broken, but because your brain has become incredibly efficient at following a path that you have traveled hundreds, if not thousands of times before. And if the path that you've been following always leads you to the same place here and here, maybe the solution isn't to walk it any faster, but to choose a different path altogether. The answer, in my opinion, isn't to force your mind to become quiet. It is to stop believing that every thought that enters here deserves your attention. When you feel yourself starting to spiral, try this. Just 3 simple steps. The first one is simple. Take a knee. And I don't mean literally, although you can if you want, you can unleash your inner samurai. But what I mean really is to pause, to observe. I want to create just enough space for your conscious mind to catch up with what your subconscious has already started. Your next decision doesn't have to be immediate. It just needs to be, I use this word lots, intentional. Ask yourself, is there anything meaningful I can do about this right now? If the answer is yes, good. Take one small action. So, depending on what it is, make the call maybe. Pay the bill, that's normally my one. Send the email, make the apology. But if the answer is no, then you're no longer solving the problem. You are rehearsing it. And when that's the case, call it out. Say to yourself out loud, I'm rehearsing. Not I'm anxious or I'm overthinking or I'm scared. That's not helpful. Just I'm rehearsing. Because doing that can instantly change your relationship with the thought or the thoughts. And you begin observing the process rather than becoming part of the problem. Okay, step 2. Here we want to break the pattern by doing something that your brain isn't expecting. Now, I normally turn to my breath here if I don't have time for a walk. And box breathing is a really good one as it requires a decent amount of focus, especially if you are drawing the box or the square. But It doesn't have to be breath work. It could be as simple as standing up, stretching, walking into another room, opening a window. I know that probably sounds silly, but tiny actions can have really big neurological shifts. And then we have step 3. Choose your direction. You will hear me talk lots about direction and momentum. But rather than waiting for your subconscious mind to decide, because we've been down that path, we know where it leads, consciously give your brain a new direction. This is where I use my affirmations. You do not have to do that. This is just what I do. For me, Reiki precepts are good here, but then I'm heavily into Reiki. But guess what? You don't need to be a Reiki practitioner or a master to use them. They're for everybody. They are just beautifully simple reminders that we all have the capacity to choose, to change and to stop so that we can return to happiness. Anyway, I probably use the second precept most, which is just for today, I will not worry. Notice it doesn't say, I'll never worry again. It says just for today, because all we are truly able to control is now, not the future, not the past, not even 5 minutes from now. So why set yourself up to fail by asking anything more of yourself in the moment? So the next time you find yourself spiraling down that path, remember, you do not have to solve everything today. You don't have to have all the answers, and you definitely don't have to answer every single thought that arrives here. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to pause. Then 1, take a knee. 2, break the pattern. And 3, choose your direction. Because peace isn't found by thinking more or thinking faster. It is found by remembering that you can choose where your attention goes. If this video resonated with you and you are looking for ways to protect your peace, your light, and step out of the spiral, scan the QR code on the screen to start your 7-day free trial with Rise. That's on me. It's the app that I've spent the last 2 and a bit years creating, which is designed to help with all of the things I talk about on this channel. And also, if you enjoyed this video, dropping a like really helps the channel grow. And if you have any questions, I love comments. Please feel free to leave a comment or drop an email. And I promise I will always get back to you. Right then, I think that's me done. Although I've probably lost about 3 pounds worth of sweat in the last 20 minutes. It is about 42 degrees in here. I've got to do another video in a minute. Anyway, stay safe. Be kind and hold on to your happiness. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care. Bye.